Maynard might be.
I thought I was at the state planning committee.
Oh.
Yes.
Let's see exactly what it is.
Move to 6
I'm gonna try to find the actual authority for it right now.
today.
So you've got.
I'll do my best to entertain all those in attendance today, so laugh at me. You don't have to laugh with me, but I will call this subcommittee meeting to order. We have one measure before us today. Chairman Stevens, House Bill 843, if you could just confirm that LC number so we make sure we're working off the same version, sir.
If that's the same LC, I've got LC 540257.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of committee, I want to thank you all for coming today. We're trying to do some economic development, if you will, in an area that's really been, had its problems over the years, and that's Underground Atlanta. They currently are in what's called a special entertainment district, created, may have even been the first one, that allows them additional hours for alcohol sales on Saturday night, Sunday as well. And Underground Atlanta qualified under the Georgia laws, designated as a special entertainment district that allows Underground Atlanta to, this bill would allow them to continue to qualify as a special entertainment district, if you will. Currently, to qualify as a special entertainment district, you must be financed in whole or in part by public funds. Underground Atlanta was sold several years ago to a private developer, and as I said earlier, it's been a problem. The language currently, specifically on line 14, allows the special entertainment district to qualify as a project that receives or has received financing in whole or in part from public funds, and that's basically all it does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As there are no questions from the committee right now, we do have two folks who have signed up to speak. So, Michael, if you are ready, if you want to step up to the podium.
Yes, thank you.
If you don't mind introducing yourself and who you're here on behalf of.
I sure will, thank you. I'm Michael Mumper. I'm with a nonprofit called Georgia Alcohol Policy Alliance. We're a completely unfunded nonprofit that's just here for public health purposes. We're here because, and I'm not going to elaborate, but just so you know who I am, it's really 6 people who donate their time because 140,000 people a year in the U.S. die from alcohol-related things. This is due to car crashes, poisonings, suicides, homicides, cirrhosis, heart disease, alcohol abuse, and dependence. Alcohol is not toothbrushes. It's not Coca-Cola. It's intoxicating. It's addictive, and it causes disease. It's why it's a regulated industry. I'm not a moralist. I don't think alcohol's right or wrong, and I don't mind when people around me drink at all. What I'm really here for is the cumulative effects of increasing alcohol to our society that just keeps expanding and expanding, and so that these numbers that I rattled off will just keep increasing. And for a state that is where being the #1 business in the country is so important, which I think it's great. But alcohol, according to a CDC study, costs the state of Georgia $6.9 billion a year. $5 billion of that is lost workplace productivity. So I don't have anything against Underground Atlanta. I do hope that it gets economic development, and I don't know that I would, lose any sleep if this bill passes. But I just want to keep our ears open that access to alcohol is something that happens every year, a little by little, and the fact that we're making alcohol an important part of the economic redevelopment of Underground Atlanta is just something we should pay attention to. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Stansel, if you want to join us at the podium and offer your comments, if you will. Same thing, introduce yourself and who you're here on behalf of.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Elmer Stansel, and I represent the owner of the property. Underground Atlanta was sold a few years ago to a private developer who is also redeveloping a large portion of downtown area. We thank Chairman Stevens for bringing this measure It allows the underground area to continue the provisions, to continue to keep the provisions of the special entertainment district. So we thank him for that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman?
I apologize if I was not clear too when in the presentation. Currently, Underground Atlanta is a special entertainment district. The only thing this bill addresses is if they're going to be have large infusions of development capital, that this allows for private investment instead of being public investment in whole.
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify there on line 14, where you and I discussed that previously, and it references which receives or has received financing.
Yes, sir.
And so that's the crux of the bill, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I do think that this is something that the full committee needs to see and consider. I appreciate your willingness to speak to me earlier today. We did try to dive into that specific code section there, and I do feel like from Legislative Council's input that this clarifying language is probably needed as much for Atlanta City Council for them to take action on this, and certainly would not want to prevent that development. I too am looking forward to seeing that. So with that, I will move that this bill move on to consideration for the full committee, and would encourage you to speak to Chairman Powell about that. So with that, and seeing that we have no other business, Ms. Jan, no other business before the subcommittee? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You need this for any reason.